Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Nick Cosgrove and I am back with this week's No Filter Q&A. This is the episode where I answer all questions related to diet, training, and supplementation I received over the last 7 days from our in-house clients, online clients, as well as a few of our online followers. Remember, if you have any questions related to your nutritional plan, workout program, supplements you're currently taking, not taking, or considering taking, please feel free to email me those questions at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can DM me your questions on my Instagram at fitcosgrove_. All right, let's get started with this week's no filter Q&A with question number one. Nick, why can I stick to my diet Monday to Friday but completely fall apart every weekend? Very common. I have this problem with a lot of my clients who work with me throughout the week and then take the weekends off from the gym. You're out of your routine. All right. This is why I truly feel that human beings, we strive on consistency and routine. All right. Like if your routine is thrown off, I know a lot of people say they like to mix things up and they like variety, but I truly believe that if your routine is thrown off, it throws everything off. It throws off your diet, throws off your training, throws off your supplement protocol, throws off your sleep. So what I find works for most people is getting into a consistent routine. So what I mean by that is if you train, let's say on Monday, why not train on Saturday? Why not train on Sunday? Right? Just because it's a weekend doesn't necessarily mean that you have to completely unplug from everything. Now, hear me out here when I say that, because I know a lot of people will say, well, I want to take my weekends off. That's fine. If you truly want to take the weekends off from work, I get it. But you shouldn't necessarily take the weekends off from training or from dieting. Okay. So if you do want to take a week off, or not the weekends, but or a week off, if you do want to take the weekends off from training, my recommendation is just do something outside of the gym that's going to keep you somewhat active. So even if that's like a 30-minute walk, because it still gives you some physical exertion that keeps you in that routine. Okay. It doesn't mean you have to go to the gym. I just want you doing something. So what I'm labeling under training, going for a walk, going for a bike ride, going for a swim, just something to get your heart rate up, get yourself moving. It doesn't have to be for 2 or 3 hours. Go for a hike outside, go whatever you want to do, but keep your body moving. By doing that, that's going to put that routine in place on a weekend so that you're not like, well, now I'm just going to take the weekend off to just completely relax altogether, take my foot off the gas. And what happens is when you do that, other things start to crumble. Because, for example, if you are someone who works out throughout the week, so let's say you work out Monday to Friday, you're someone who's in the gym 5 days a week. I guarantee you that your diet plan revolves around your workout in some way, whether you have a pre-workout meal, a post-workout meal, both. You notice that if you're training throughout the week too, that you feel better, so you want to fuel your body better. So many of my clients who work out with me always tell me every time they work out, like if they work out first thing in the morning, they want to keep their diet clean for the rest of the day because they worked out. They don't want to just go reward themselves with shitty food. They feel better when they leave the gym. In order to continuously feel better, you need to plug in better, wholesome, nutritious foods, right? Why are you going to go do a workout and then go have a bunch of pancakes, muffins, all that crap, trans fats, feel like crap, simple carbohydrates, lots of sugar, and crash, right? So most people find that when they work out, it kind of translates to their diet and it's much easier to stay in that routine. All right. So to answer that question, I'm a firm believer that you should never take your foot off the gas just because it's the weekends. And this is why, for me, I've never really looked at the week, Monday to Friday. I've never looked at breakfast, lunch, dinner. That's not the way that I operate. I operate meal one, meal two, meal three, meal four, meal five, meal six, meal seven. Monday to Sunday, I work 7 days a week. I'm not suggesting that you do this, but the reason I do that with my schedule, with my routine, with my training, with my supplementation, with my diet, it's just easier to maintain that. And if I feel like I need a break, whether it's a mental break or a physical break, I take the time off from the gym, but I still do something else. I'll go out for a walk with my partner. We'll go for like an hour walk outside. We'll stay active, stay fit. Okay. So every day I'm doing something in order to keep my heart rate up. All right. And like I said, it doesn't have to be hours on end. Half an hour is fine. All right. If you can fit that into your day, of course you can fit that into your day. There's 24 hours in a day. That's going to keep you in your routine. Okay. So don't just take your foot off the gas because it's the weekend. I'm not suggesting don't take a break. Of course, you want to take a break from training. I get it. You want to take a break from the diet, have a cheat meal, but don't let the cheat meal turn into a cheat day, or in your case, a cheat weekend, because one full day or 2 full days can throw off a whole week's worth of dieting and clean eating. So why sabotage yourself like that? All right. So my recommendation to anyone, not just this person, but anyone who's struggling to stay on track with their diet over the weekends, think, what are you missing from your regular routine that's causing this? Is it because you're not going to work? Because sometimes too that helps too. When someone's working, they're busy, they're under stress, they're trying to get things done, they have meetings, they have appointments, they're trying to fit in their schedule for the gym sessions. So weekends they kind of relax, they don't have all that stuff. Now there's more free time, if you will. Go out for brunch, maybe sleep in a little bit, go for a few drinks at night. So you have to watch that. And I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying be very aware of what you're doing and don't treat the weekend like a be all end all where you can just sabotage your diet and forget about exercise altogether. I promise you that's going to set you back. All right. So my recommendation to anyone out there who is struggling with their diet on the weekends, try to do something that's going to keep you active on both Saturday and Sunday, and that will help. I promise you, it actually will help you stay on track. Okay, because nobody wants to go do something good for their body and then reward themselves with crappy food and crappy drinks and feel hungover the next day. No, okay, you don't reward yourself with food because you did something good for your body. You're not a dog. Okay, so make sure you stay on track with your diet. Make sure you stay on track with your training. And again, when I say training, I don't mean going to the gym. I just mean something where you are outside doing something. Okay, so it could be just going for a walk, going for a run, bike ride, swim, hike, whatever. Just get moving, stay active. All right. Nick, do I really need to eat 6 meals a day to build muscle, or is that bodybuilding bro science? Yeah, I mean, the reason I've talked about this in the past, when it comes to 6 or 7, or in my case, 8 meals a day, it has nothing to do with building muscle. It has nothing to do with staying in a anabolic state. The reason I suggest people eat more frequently throughout the day is in order to keep the blood sugar and insulin levels stable throughout the day, so you're not crashing. I've always said to clients, if eating twice a day or 3 times a day works well for you, by all means do it. But what I find works for most people, especially people who are very active and very fit, smaller, more frequent meals tend to work better. All right. And there's multiple reasons for this, but one of the main reasons is because the more that you weight train, the more muscle you build. The more muscle you build, the more calories you exert in a rested state. All right. So you're going to notice that your metabolism starts to speed up. So because of that, you yourself are going to be more hungry. I know, for example, when I had my hernia surgery last year and I took a month off from training, I had to force feed myself to eat throughout the day because I wasn't really exerting as much energy. I was training clients on the floor, but I wasn't really working out. So I could get by with 1 or 2 meals a day. I was never hungry. But I knew I couldn't afford to just have 1 or 2 meals a day because then I would lose muscle. So I had to force feed myself to have at least 4 to 5 meals a day. Now that I'm back training on a regular basis, I mean, I do 8 meals a day. But again, I don't necessarily do that because I'm trying to build muscle. I do that because I am trying to keep my blood sugar levels and my insulin levels stable throughout the day and have a constant flow of energy where I'm not relying on stimulants like caffeine to keep me up through the day or sugar. All right. So if I'm a firm believer that if you plug in your macronutrients properly throughout the day and you pay attention to your micronutrients, the quality of the foods that you're consuming, you're going to have lots of energy. You're going to have lots of strength in the gym. You're going to sleep better. You're going to recover better. Okay. You're going to be in a better mood. Okay. So a lot of what we eat helps us perform throughout the day, not just in the gym, but in life in general. Whether you're at work, you're being social with friends, family, whatever you're doing, you're going to have more energy. You're going to be more awake, more present in the moment. All right. So to answer that question, you don't need to have 6 meals a day. I mean, I do have people on my roster that have 4 or 5 meals a day. I always just tell people you have to do what works best for yourself. But I do notice across the board that people who train on a regular basis do respond better. And I don't just mean physically, I don't just mean building muscle. I mean just mentally. They're more mentally alert, more energized to smaller, more frequent meals. Also, you have to remember, as human beings, our bodies are not designed to digest these massive meals in one sitting. I mean, I've talked about this in the past when I go to restaurants, I never finish a meal because the portions are just so big. And I'm a big guy, but my meals are small, but I eat them like every 2 or 3 hours. All right. But again, it's not because I'm afraid of losing muscle. There's no, that's that bro science again. Okay. You're not going to lose muscle if you eat 3 or 4 meals a day. It's just not optimal when it comes to building muscle and losing fat because you want your body to be constantly fueled. Okay. You want to have good nutrients flowing through your body. So you are feeding those muscles. All right. So if you are someone who is serious about adding on muscle, performing better in the gym, losing more body fat, I do recommend smaller, more frequent meals. All right. This works better for most people. It's not necessary, but it does work best, in my opinion, from what I've seen over the past 20 plus years of working with the general population, helping them build muscle, lose fat, and feel better. Smaller, more frequent meals work best. All right. Nick, why does my weight jump up 5 pounds after one cheat meal when I know I didn't gain 5 pounds of fat? Yeah, this is a big one for a lot of people. And this is one of the reasons I tell all of my online clients, preferably if you're going to have your cheat meal on a Friday night or a Saturday night. Because as most people know, my US clients, they send me their check-ins on Thursday mornings. My Canadian clients send me their check-ins on Friday mornings. So I want that cheat meal to be far away from that check-in. So if they send me a check-in, let's say Friday morning, they had their cheat meal Friday night, it's not going to impact the number on the scale the following week. Whereas if you have your cheat meal, let's say you're a Canadian client, you send me your check-in on a Friday morning, you had a cheat meal on Thursday night, your weight could easily go up, as like this person said, 5, 6. I've even seen some people go up 9 pounds overnight from a cheat meal. Okay. The reason for this, if you are someone who follows a fairly clean diet, which if you're watching this, you probably do, you're going to notice that every time you have something outside of your diet, French fries, burger, pizza, pasta, anything high in sodium, you're going to retain water like crazy because your body's just not used to that greasy food, those trans fats, those simple carbs. The analogy I use is if you have a really clean house and someone comes in and messes it all up, it's going to be in disarray, right? You're going to be all thrown off, like everything's messy. But if you're someone who constantly lives in filth, you wouldn't even notice, right? If someone came in and messed it up even more, you'd be like, whatever, it is what it is. So people who eat like that regularly, who go to McDonald's regularly, KFC, drink every day, they don't even notice because their body is in such disarray that their weight won't even go up. It'll probably stay the same because their body's so used to that sodium, that extra grease, that extra trans fats. Okay. So if you are someone who follows a clean diet, you're definitely going to notice that. You're going to feel it too. You're going to feel the water retention. I know for me, when I go out for brunch or for dinner and I have something that's not usually on my diet, I feel the water weight within minutes. I do. And I don't think it's placebo. It's just because I'm so sensitive to sodium because I don't really salt my foods. The only sodium I have in my diet is the sodium from my foods already. Okay. So that's why. And I notice it's more common with women than men. Women tend to retain more water than men do after a cheat meal. I think that has to do a lot with hormonal levels, though, estrogen being one of them. So, I mean, men do hold water for sure, absolutely. But I noticed that women tend to hold it more after a cheat meal. So don't panic. There's nothing to be alarmed about. My only recommendation, though, is if you are going to have a cheat meal, try to have that cheat meal as your last meal of the day, because that's going to stop any urges to have more bad food. So if you are someone who goes, let's say you have a burger and fries, have that at the end of the day, then you just go to bed. You wake up the next day, get right back on your diet again. Okay. If you have that burger and fries, let's say at lunch, there's a good chance you're going to be craving something else that's salty or sweet towards the end of the day because your blood sugar level is going to be a little bit out of whack. Maybe now you want some ice cream, right? Or maybe you want some pizza, whatever it is. So you have it as your last meal of the day, you go to bed, you wake up, there's no cravings, no urges. Okay. And one more thing I'll add to that is if you're going to have your cheat meal, chug water. The more water you drink, the less water you're going to hold. All right. I tell this people time and time again. Okay. So if you're someone who retains water very easily, drink more water. I promise you, this works for everyone. Man, woman, I don't care. Drink more water. Okay. Because the more water you drink, your body's going to relax and just let it out. Okay. You're going to sweat it out. You're going to pee it out. Your body's just going to let it go. All right. But if you don't drink enough water and you're constantly in a state of dehydration, guess what? You're going to retain water. Okay. So make sure you drink your water. Don't panic when your weight goes up 5, 6, or like I said, even 9 pounds in some cases after a cheat meal. Very common. Don't let it discourage you. Hell, if it really messes you up, don't even look at the scale the next day after a cheat meal. Okay. And just get back on track on the diet the next day. I promise you it's not going to make an impact if you're just doing that one, maybe two cheat meals a week. It should have zero impact on your physique or your goals whatsoever. All right. Okay. Nick, what's more important for fat loss? Total calories or food quality? Food quality, 100%. There are so many of these so-called fitness experts out there, nutritional gurus out there who say it's just calories in, calories out. The problem with the calories in, calories out statement is that it's a very white blanket generic statement. Yes, if you're in a caloric deficit, you're going to lose weight. If you're in a caloric surplus, you're going to gain weight. Yeah, any moron knows that. But notice I said weight. I didn't say fat. I didn't say muscle. I said weight. What does weight mean? If your goal is to lose fat, build and preserve muscle, which I believe is everyone's goal, who wants to lose muscle? Like, I mean, maybe if you're a retired bodybuilder, you're trying to downsize from 300 pounds to 200 pounds. Yeah, sure, you're trying to lose muscle. But the average person is not trying to lose muscle. The average person is trying to preserve muscle, build muscle, lose fat. Okay. So for these people, the goal should not be counting calories. The goal should be paying more attention to your macronutrients and your micronutrients. Okay, because if you're in a caloric deficit for too long, guess what? You're not going to be able to perform in the gym. I can tell you from someone who's had to drop his calories for contest prep, your strength plummets. You feel like crap. You have no energy. Okay, so you don't want to do that for a long period of time because, yeah, you're going to lose weight, but you're going to lose muscle. You're going to lose water. You'll lose some fat, but why the hell do you want to lose muscle and water? So, if you want to lose fat and continuously build and preserve muscle, you have to be more strategic with your diet. So, you have to stop counting calories right away. You got to get the whole calorie counting out of your head and focus more on your macronutrients. Understand your body type. You know, there's some people out there, I include myself in this, who can have 1,000 carbs a day. It doesn't affect my physique, whatever. I can easily have 1,000 carbs a day and I still have abs in the morning. Okay. But I have good complex carbohydrates. Okay. So I'm not going out there and having bread, for example. I'm not having pasta. Okay. I'm making sure that I'm having good complex carbohydrates that are going to fuel my workouts for the gym. They're going to give me a lot of energy to move. I'm not sitting here and having a whole bunch of carbs and just sitting here all day. I'm moving around, right? So I'm burning those carbs. Then there's other people who are very sensitive to carbs, even if they are very active, very fit. So for those people, we have to maybe back off the carbs, maybe give them more fats. So it's important to understand your body type, whether you're an endomorph, a mesomorph, a combination of the two, ectomorph. So it's very important to understand that, and then you can put together a nutritional plan that's going to work for your body type and your lifestyle. But again, if your goal is to lose fat and build and preserve muscle, you have to stop counting calories. I'm telling you right now. If you just want to see the number go down the scale because that excites you for some weird reason, by all means, count calories. You'll lose weight. But I can guarantee you the weight you're going to lose is going to be muscle, fat, and water. At first, it might be fat, if you're, especially if you're someone who is very obese. But then it's going to hit you. You're going to start losing muscle. You're going to start losing water because your body will always burn muscle before it burns fat. Always. Because your body's like, well, we need fat for survival. We don't need muscle for survival. We need fat. So your body can say, well, let's burn the muscle. Okay. If you don't have muscle, you'll still be alive. But if you don't have enough fat, guess what? You're going to die. So your body will always burn muscle over fat. Always. Remember that. So counting calories to me is completely irrelevant if your goal is to build and preserve muscle while continuously burning body fat. And if that's what your goal is, then you better start counting your macronutrients and more importantly, paying attention to your micronutrients. All right. Okay. Nick, should I eat differently on training days versus rest days? No, I don't think so. The only thing I would take out if you're someone who is like me and you have a post-workout meal, which right now is 2 cups of white jasmine rice and 2 scoops of protein powder, that would probably be the only meal I would take out. Okay, so if I'm taking a rest day from the gym, and I don't really take days off from the gym, but if I were to take a rest day off the gym, that'd probably be the only meal I would take out. I still have all my other meals because I feel like, again, it goes back to that first question. Consistency is key. So even though I might not be exerting as much energy because I'm not working out on that 1 or 2 days a week, I'm still overall, if I'm looking at the grand scheme of things in the course of a week's time, I'm still burning tons of calories. Okay. So I want to keep my body consistent because here's the thing. Let's say you end up, okay, so I'm taking, I'm filming this Q&A on a Saturday. Let's say I'm going to take Saturday off from the gym. I'm not going to train at all. And because of that, instead of having my usual 8 meals, I'm going to have 4 meals. Now, that's going to impact the next day, Sunday, when I go back to the gym and train again. It's going to impact the transition of the weight. I might feel a little bit weaker because my glycogen storage might be a little bit lower, right? Maybe I consumed 200 grams less of carbs. Maybe I consumed 50 grams less of fat. Maybe I consumed 100 grams less of protein. That's all going to impact the next workout. Now, if my next workout, I'm not as strong, I'm not moving as fast, maybe I'm not training as intensely, well, that's going to set me back even more. Okay. So in order to stay on track throughout the week, I like to keep things consistent. So I don't really believe in changing the diet at all from a rest day to a train day. I never have. Like I said, the only thing I would take out is if you're someone who has a post-workout shake or post-workout meal, just take that one out. Right. And that's it because you're not working out that day. But everything else should stay the same. The more simple that you keep things, the better. I know there's so many, these coaches online that try to overcomplicate the process. And I always tell people, I'm like, I'm going to I'm always going to be a straight shooter. I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm going to be completely transparent with you. I'm going to explain to you what revisions I'm making, why I'm making these revisions, and I'm going to tell you that's pretty simple. But the reason you have me as a coach is because even though it's simple for me, it might not be simple for the person who's trying to lose fat and build muscle because they're not well versed in dietary nutrition or exercise science. But because I am, when I see things arise where someone's hit a plateau with their weight loss, or they have no energy in the gym, or let's say their cravings are through the roof, they're constantly craving sugar. Because I've gone through that before, either myself or with other clients, I know where to troubleshoot. And I go, okay, we just have to go back to the basics here. So if someone's craving, for example, lots of sugar, well, their blood sugar levels might be fairly low. So maybe I actually need to give them a little bit more sugar, natural sugar in their diet. If someone's constantly craving carbohydrates, for example, I won't necessarily give them more carbs. In fact, I might even lower their carbs, but I'll increase their fats because that works 90% of the time. All right. But it's understanding the individual you're working with. Gender plays a role, lifestyle plays a role, activity level plays a role. But all those things help when I have that information where I can make those tweaks and revisions to the person's plan. All right. And that's important because I feel like a lot of people go in with these generic cookie cutter plans and they don't really know what the hell they're doing. And maybe the first 2 or 3 weeks, the plan's working, but then they hit a plateau and they get frustrated because they don't know what to do. And they're not losing any more fat, they're not building any more muscle. And this is where it comes down to working with an experienced coach that's going to design a customized training program and or nutritional plan for you that is going to help you surpass those plateaus when they arise. Because I promise you, they will arise. They always arise. Okay. So I've never seen anyone, including myself, who has a clear path to building muscle or losing fat. We all hit plateaus. But if you know how to kind of troubleshoot and move past those plateaus and overcome those plateaus, you're going to continue to see progress with your health and your physique. All right. Okay, a few more questions here. Nick, why do I always crave junk food at night, even when I've eaten enough during the day? So junk food at night is usually a blood sugar issue. All right. Can also be boredom. Let's say you're working, let's say you work a 9 to 5 job, you're on your feet all day, or you're behind a desk, you're working, whatever you're doing, though, you're mentally engaged in something, right? So you're distracted. You come home at night, maybe you turn on the TV, watch some Netflix. You're just sitting there. Mindless snacking occurs. You're not even hungry, right? It just happens. Mindless snacking occurs. You're bored. So sometimes it's out of boredom, okay? But sometimes it's out of blood sugar issues. Now, if it's out of boredom, there's not much I can tell you except to change your habits. If you start to feel like that, go for a walk, call someone on the phone, keep yourself distracted, have a long shower, whatever it is, but keep yourself distracted, all right? But if it is a blood sugar issue, my recommendation is to backload your fats. All right. And I've talked about this numerous times how on my nutritional plans, for a lot of the people I work with, I usually backload their fats. So I'll give them more carbs at the beginning of the day, and I'll give them more fats towards the end of the day. I'll keep protein consistent throughout. And the reason I do that is because fats, not only do they allow you to stay fuller for a longer period of time, I'm a firm believer, even though I have no scientific data backing this, I am a firm believer though, that utilizing natural fats in your diet will help stabilize your blood sugar levels and your insulin levels. Having too much carbs, even if they're complex, will do the complete opposite. All right. So the answer is not have more carbs, because that's actually going to make you crave more sugar. The answer is have more fats. And don't forget, when I talk fats, I'm talking about omega-3 eggs, natural peanut butter, natural almond butter, almonds, walnuts, cashew butter, extra virgin olive oil. All this stuff helps. All right. So don't be afraid of the calorie count of fats. I know a lot of people shy away from fats. They're like, oh my God, a tablespoon of peanut butter has 100 calories. Oh, yeah. But here's the thing, that 1 tablespoon of peanut butter is going to stop you from having a box of cookies, which is going to be like 2,000 calories. Because again, it keeps you fuller for a longer period of time. But again, this is just my opinion. And from working with the general population over the years, people I've worked with all notice this. When I increase their fats towards the end of the day, their cravings go down substantially. They really do. All right. So, and you can pick the fat. Like I have some people that love peanut butter. I'm like, great, but I only want you having 1 tablespoon, sometimes two. Mix it with some protein powder. Within 20 minutes after eating that, no more cravings, gone. Okay. But if I said to them, no, I want you to have some cup of jasmine rice and a chicken, that probably won't work. Now, if I put some extra virgin olive oil on that rice and that chicken, yeah, maybe. Okay, but it depends on what time of day it is, where they're at. But I don't want them doing mindless snacking at night. Okay, and that's another thing to watch too, because the two things that lead to weight gain, snacking and uncontrolled, or sorry, snacking, I should say, sorry, not, that is uncontrolled, and not doing portion control. Those are two big things. Because snacking, there is no portion control. And someone who's just kind of eyeballing their meals, you really don't know how much you're having. To this day, I mean, I've been meal prepping for 20 years. I still have to measure out 2 cups of rice. I do. I still have to put on my food scale, okay, 300 grams. I can't eyeball that. There's no way. I mean, if I do, I might get maybe 330 grams or 270 grams, but I'll be off. I don't want to be off. And it takes seconds to do it. I know some people say, oh, that's OCD. I mean, sure, call it what you will. But when your body starts to operate like a machine and it's working on a consistent basis, that's how you become successful with your physique and your health and your performance in the gym. Because again, going back to that first question, it's all about the consistency factor. Our bodies crave routine. So keep everything simple, stay in the routine, and make sure that you're really trying to practice proper portion control, not doing mindless snacking. And if you are someone like this person who struggles with, uncontrolled eating at night, look at the habits. Try your best to change those habits. If you're just doing it because you're bored, you have to change those habits. And I can't tell you what to do, how to do that. I can give you my opinion or I can give you examples of what people try to do. And like I said, you get on the phone with a friend, you go for a walk, you try to drink some water, but you have to find that on your own. But if it is a blood sugar issue, backload your fats. It works. All right. Okay, last question. Is this? Yeah, last question. Okay. Nick, if you could only give someone three nutrition rules to follow for the rest of their life, what would they be? I have way more than three. But you know, the most important thing for me when it comes to nutrition is you want to put together a plan that is sustainable. And I talk about this time and time again with clients because if you're following a plan that's not sustainable, it's not going to be successful. So you have to find foods that you enjoy. I don't mean ice cream. I don't mean pizza. You have to find healthy foods that you enjoy. You have to make those healthy foods taste good to you so you enjoy them. So, people make fun of me and say, well, I have no taste buds. Okay. But to me, I enjoy the food I eat. So to me, it's not like I feel like I'm dieting. Even when I did my contest prep 2 months ago, I stuck with the exact same foods I'm doing right now, just smaller portions. That was it. That was the only thing that changed. I'm still doing oatmeal. I'm still doing chicken. I'm still doing ground turkey. I'm still doing jasmine rice. I'm still doing extra virgin olive oil. All those foods stayed in. I didn't change them. It's just the portion has changed because now I'm no longer dieting or trying to lose body fat. Okay. I'm still trying to stay lean, but my focus is not to be contest lean. I don't need to be in single digits body fat right now. So I can eat more food. Okay. If I were to go back and try to get my body in stage shape again, I would just take the same foods I'm eating and drop the portions down. Okay. So it's very easy for me to do that. I understand that a lot of people like to have variety in their diet, and I get it. And that's why I include lots of variety in my nutritional plans for people. But my variety is not okay, you can have half a cup of oats or you can have French toast. No, it's you can have half a cup of oats or you can have a third of a cup of cream of rice. You could have 2 slices of Ezekiel bread or 2 slices of carbonate bread. So I'm giving other alternatives for complex carbohydrates here. Okay, same thing with my proteins. You can have a scoop of whey isolate or you can have a cup of egg whites. Okay, my fats, you can have a tablespoon of peanut butter or almond butter, or you could have 2 whole eggs. So I'm giving alternatives, but good, healthy alternatives. So you want to find foods that you enjoy. Okay. And here's the thing. You're not, if you're someone's like, oh, I don't enjoy any of those foods. Well, then tough for you. Figure out a way because if you're eating shit all day, eat like shit, feel like shit, look like shit, period. All right. So that's my number one is find a plan that is sustainable for you. All right. It doesn't have to be my diet. It doesn't have to be a bodybuilder's diet, but find a plan that you know is not going to cause you to gain fat or to lose muscle or to feel like shit. All right. And if that means you have to work with a coach, then hire a coach that can troubleshoot with you and put together a plan that's going to work specifically for you, your lifestyle, and your goals. That's my number one. Okay. So follow a sustainable plan. My number two, portion control. I just talked about this in, I think, the last question. I truly believe everyone should use a food scale. I do. I don't care if that makes me sound OCD. I don't care. If you truly are serious about losing fat, building muscle, feeling better and performing better throughout the day, it all starts with your diet. And if you're not managing your portion control correctly, you're in for a lot of trouble. It's going to be very hard when you say, I need to lose fat, but I don't know what I need to do. Should I just do more cardio? Should I cut more calories? Or what should I do? Here's the thing. If you have a food scale, you'll know exactly what to do. You're like, yeah, you know what? Right now I'm having, 300 grams of rice for one meal. Let's cut that down to 150 grams for the next week. You do that, and all of a sudden, oh wow, now I'm down 2 pounds. Good. Okay. You're still keeping protein high, you're still keeping fats relatively high, but now you hit a plateau. Now what do you do? Well, maybe my fats are a little too high. So why don't I drop my fats, but I'll increase my protein? That can all be managed on a food scale because you're practicing portion control. And I tell every single person that works with me, if you are not using a food scale, this relationship won't work. I will not be able to help you because I'm not going to be able to make changes on guesses. I need to know exactly how much carbs, protein, and fat you're having per day, per week, so I can make the proper revisions. I'm the one who plugs in your macros throughout the week, so I know exactly how much you're having. If you have an additional cheat meal or you have something that's not on the diet, my clients record it for me so I know. But if they're following the diet to a T, then I'm like, all right, well, right now they're not losing weight, so I need to drop carbs, increase fats, or maybe I need to drop fats and carbs, and increase protein for a few weeks and rotate. Okay, macronutrient rotation is key. So portion control would be number two. All right. Number three, the third, I mean, I have so many here. Try to think of food as fuel for your body. And it's changing your mindset with food. And I talked about this on the coaching reality episode last week, is about creating healthy relationships with food. And so when I say, think of food as fuel, I don't mean think of food as like you're a machine in that case. Like I still want people to enjoy food. I understand when people go to restaurants and stuff, it's social. I get it. But at the same time, you should not be rewarding yourself with food. And I've talked about this numerous times about you're not a dog. Hell, I talked about it on this episode. You're not a dog. When a dog does something good, what do? We give it a treat, right? We give animals treats when they do things good. So if you want to compare yourself to a dog, by all means, reward yourself with food when you do something good for your body. But what I try to do is I try to change the mindset of my clients. I'm like, wow, you just lost 5 pounds this month. That's great. And it's 5 pounds of fat. That's fantastic. But rather than go out and have a cheap meal, why not reward yourself with like a new gym outfit? Okay. That's money well spent. A cheat meal is going to be gone within an hour. You buy that outfit, you're going to have it for a few years. That to me is a better ROI. I'm all about the ROI. So think of food as fuel. I'm not saying don't enjoy it. I'm not saying don't go out and have social outings and go to restaurants. And I'm not saying don't do that. But at the same time, try to switch your mindset to this is fuel. My body needs it. And this also helps for people who have unhealthy relationship with not eating enough food. People who might be recovering from anorexia, people who are bulimic. You have to change your mindset instead of thinking, oh, this food's going to make me fat. It's like, no, no. This food is going to make me feel better. It's going to make me perform better. It's going to make my skin look better, all these things. So I need to have a healthy relationship. I need to kind of change my mindset of the way I look at food. And I know not everyone looks at food like I do because I truly do just look at food purely as fuel. I, I take no enjoyment in eating food. I truly don't. To me, because I think of all the years of competing, eating is like a chore for me. I've always say to my girlfriend, if there was a pill I could take where I would not have to eat food, and I could just take that pill and I'd be full and I'd keep my muscle and keep my physique, I'd do it. But unfortunately, that doesn't exist. Okay. So I need to eat. And like I said, it's to me, it's a chore, but I do understand for some people, they do enjoy the process of eating, the process of going out for food and for dinners and stuff like this. And again, I'm not saying don't have a cheat meal, don't even have two cheat meals. You can have two cheat meals a week, three. But whatever your goal is, you have to program accordingly for both your nutritional plan and your training program. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you have that healthy relationship with food. So you're not depriving yourself. But the same thing, you don't want to be a glutton. You don't need to overeat. You don't need to overindulge. All right. So it's important to have that healthy mindset, healthy relationship with food. And I can tell you, I try to work with a lot of people who do have unhealthy relationships with food and try to change that mindset. Sometimes it works, but in some cases, I have referred out because for some people, it could be some childhood trauma. Maybe they were really overweight when they were a child or a teenager, they got made fun of. And sometimes it's a psychological problem, right? And I'm not someone who's well versed in that, so I can't help you. You need to talk to a therapist, a psychiatrist, okay? Because if you are someone who has that unhealthy relationship with food, it could be something that's deeper. But, a lot of times I do work with people who do struggle with their diet. And, there's like, I just constantly crave sugar. And I look at their diet, I'm like, well, no wonder you constantly crave sugar. You're having sugar in every meal. So let's try to tidy this up a bit. And I can usually help them fix their diet. But if it goes beyond my scope of practice, I have no problem referring out because I know what I know. I'm confident with what I know. What I don't know, I have no problem referring to someone that does know. Okay, and I think that's what makes a good coach, someone who is quite humble and someone who stays within their own lane. It's the same thing I tell people if they contact me. I had someone contact me the other day for online coaching, and they wanted to put me to put them together a powerlifting program. I said, I'd be doing you a disservice because I'm not a powerlifter. That's not what I teach. I don't teach powerlifting. But I referred them to a good friend of mine who is a powerlifter because I know he can help them. Okay, so, and that same person has referred clients to me for bodybuilding because that's what I specialize in, helping people build muscle, lose fat. That's what I do. I help people transform their physiques. Okay, but if you want to do powerlifting, CrossFit, Zumba, Legree, I'm not your guy. Okay, I can't help you with that. But anyway, to get back to those three, in my opinion, I don't want to call them rules, but my three tips, I would say find a plan or put together a plan that is sustainable. That is number one. Practice proper portion control. You don't have to measure every single thing that goes into your body, but God, if you can at least measure 80, 85%, that'll be huge for you. It really will. That'd be two. And the third would be developing a healthy relationship with food. Because I feel like there's a lot of people out there that struggle mentally with food, whether it's because it's going to make them gain too much fat, or if you're someone like I was as a teenager, really skinny and who struggled to put on weight, I would overeat trying to put on weight, which never felt good because I'd have all these digestive issues, constantly feeling bloated. I was sweating when I was just sitting there because my body was just constantly just like trying to get rid of that food. So that made me feel very uncomfortable. So there can go both ways. I've seen it. All right. So you want to develop that healthy relationship with food. All right. So that would be my three tips. I don't want to call them rules, my three tips. Anyway, that's it for this week's No Filter Q&A. This episode will be going up on Monday, June the 1st. As a reminder, if you have any questions related to your nutritional plan, workout program, supplements you're currently taking, not taking, or considering taking, please feel free to email me at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can DM me your questions on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. I just want to also say, I just noticed that all those questions today, I think this is the first time ever on the 6 years I've been doing these Q&As. Yeah. First time ever, all those questions were nutritional based. I didn't get a single question on the gym. So I think that's the first time because I usually get some questions about training or supplementation, but those were all diet questions. So you can tell summer is coming, right? Because people are trying to take their diets a little bit more serious, and that's great. But as a reminder, though, if you are looking to work with an online coach that can help create a customized nutritional plan for you, or training program, or a combination of two, I always am willing to work with people who need my assistance. All right. If you'd like more information on that, you can check out my website, foreverfitperformance.com, or you can email me at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, and I'll send you all the information you need in order for us to get started on that. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you for supporting my YouTube channel, my online coaching business, as well as my in-house personal training business here in Vancouver, British Columbia. I truly do appreciate all the support and all the feedback that I receive from each and every single one of you. Thank you all again, and I will see you all next week. Bye for now.